All right, welcome. We're gonna go ahead and get started. We're letting a few more people in here. Welcome to today's webinar. Today we'll be talking about these dashboard graphics that we can put together using Stratum. And that's what today's topic is Stratum dashboards. So we'll talk about, how Stratum provides the ability to flexibly deliver your information, such as using the Stratum dashboards. We'll look at how these are built. And this is some of the latest technology that we're providing, by the way. So this is covered in some of our latest versions of Stratum. We'll go into the designer today. We'll look at how you build these dashboards. I'll show you in a demonstration, and then we'll take some questions and we'll wrap up. But talking about the data hub, we'll be concentrating on basically the analytics portion of the data hub. As you can see, getting data out of Stratum. There are many options of getting data out of Stratum. One of those options, obviously, is using dashboards. But as you can see, there's other, many different types of ways of getting data out of Stratum. You could also get it directly into Excel or Power BI. You can distribute reports through email. So, many ways of this is just one way of producing, nice visuals, nice graphics that tell a story. So let's take a look at how we can build that. So it's available in 7.4 for dashboards. And so you'll need to, the new charts, the dashboarding actually came out in 7.1, but with the new charts capability, you'll have to move up to 7.4 to take advantage of that. It's pretty easy to design. It is all drag and drop. I've yet to really experience any major issues. You've got links to, you can also put out a custom dashboard item to show websites or reporting services reports, Power BI reports, so you can link to other things on the internet to show in your dashboard. So it makes it quite flexible, and it looks good. It provides professional looking dashboards, and you can push out to your users, and also provides the ability to get to the detail if they need to, and I'll show you how that happens. Here's an example of what a dashboard might look like. As you can see, we support your classic graphics. You've got your bar and your column charts, the pie chart. But there's different variations. The pie chart offers a donut chart or gauges in case you want to, kind of go into some of that. Line charts, of course, you can show trends, which you'll definitely want to do, and much more. So, we'll get into how we build some of this. Once you do upgrade and you get to the 7.4 piece, as you can see, the dashboard, there's actually a dashboard menu option under the manage things. So if you go up to the hamburger menu in your upper right hand corner, and if you click on that, you'll see that and you go into manage things, you'll see there's a dashboards menu there. And that will bring up another browser session, which will then allow you to start building your dashboard page. The browser session, as I said, comes up and you can come in, start editing or creating your dashboards. You'll gain access to all the views that you have available within Stratum that you're able to see. So as you can see, you're going to get a menu of all the different views that you can take advantage of to create these graphics off of. And then at that point, you start, creating your graphics. You'll need to select your view and then drag and drop that over and start creating your chart of choice. Here I can see, once I have the widget in my dashboard, I can then go into my widget settings and I can hide different things. You might want to do that to clean up the dashboard a bit. You may not want to show the file menu, the save as, and all that other stuff. You might want to clean some of that up. So you'll have an opportunity to go into your settings and clean a lot of this stuff out that you may not want to show. That's part of the default view, right? But you may not want to show it in your dashboard graphic. So, I think we provided plenty of options to clean a lot of that up. And then you can go into linked content URL, and then you can link this to other things, such as other views or websites or any other content that you would deem necessary to link to. So it's actually quite robust in terms of what you can do and how you can set some of this stuff up. So the new charts in 7.4, as you can see, you'll get prompted once you're in the designer and you connect to the views. You'll then obviously have this little menu up here to select what dashboard type you want to start with. And again, you can go in further and customize this further, change the dashboard type on the fly. And each dashboard type has different variants that you can use under it. So don't just assume that we have these simple chart types. No, you can go in and get customize them further, and then you can even have select different subtypes as well. So that being said, it's very easy to build these simple charts, and as you can see, dragging and dropping them over. And then really at the end of the day, you'll spend most of the time kind of resizing things and making sure that things look good, tell a story. Again, there's some best practices here that you don't want to show too much. Obviously, when you build a dashboard, you want to show enough, and then obviously show something that they can kind of drill in on and find the devil in its details. Here, as you can see, I'm going into the edit mode of the actual chart itself. So you have widget settings, and then you also have the chart settings. So there's two different types of settings that you can play around with within the dashboard widget. When I go into the actual chart settings, the edit this item, you'll see this menu pop up where you can go in and start editing the chart type. So you can change the chart type on the fly. And then the chart data allows you to select which pieces of the view that you want to chart. You might have a view that has multiple columns in it, and you only want to chart maybe 2 of those columns. So this is where you have that opportunity to select which columns you want to base the chart on. And that's exactly what this menu looks like. So if I click on that edit chart data for chart, I can then come in and then select what labels I want to use. And then as you can see for my series are my different columns of measures that I had within my view. And as you can see, I had other things going on within my view that I'm disregarding. So I'm only charting this year and last year's sales instead of all the different columns that I have within that particular view. Now, of course, you can build the view just for your chart, but in this instance, I wouldn't recommend that, because you can link them to this view and it'll have not only what the chart has in it, but additional data points that they can assess as well. So here's what I was talking about, where you go in and you can select these other subtypes of charts. So as you can see, I can come in and select the different types of charts on the fly. So if I were to customize the actual chart itself, or the actual, if I were to change the chart on the fly, this is the menu I would see where I can actually go in and select which chart I want to change on the fly. And as you can see, I've got different options that didn't show on the initial menu, where I can then select other different types of charts. And then, of course, don't forget that we have a custom widget that allows you to go in and maybe you want a portion of the dashboard to look at a Power BI report, or a website of some sort, or your customer website, your own website, anything that you can link to, you can then build into your dashboard and have that available and visible within your dashboard as well. That's my name, Adam Kurtz. That's how to get a hold of me. So don't hesitate to contact me if you want to pursue this, and I can help you along with that. Feel free to contact me. All other types of information down there, our website, of course. If you've never been to customernet.sylvan.com, I recommend that you go there. There's a lot of resources there. There's a customer forum there that's very a knowledge base that is very knowledgeable. Not to say that no pun intended, but yeah, there's a lot of knowledge in it. YouTube, we've got a lot of these recorded for you, and this one will end up on YouTube as well. So check out our channel on YouTube and join and subscribe to it, and you won't be disappointed with all the content that you have available. All right, well, without further ado, let's take a look at some of the dashboards. Here's one I built, and it's got quite a few different things, as you can see within my dashboard. First off, I've got a bar chart, a column chart, just showing me my different brands, and showing me obviously canned fruit coming in, telling me a story that's dominating my product mix at the corporate level. As I hover over these different chart types, it shows me the actual numbers that the chart is based on, that the different bars are based on. which makes it quite nice. So this is just simple, this year, last year's sales for canned fruit. If I wanted to drill in further on this, notice that I've got this little menu option here in the upper right-hand corner. And this allows me to do a couple things. I can actually open this particular chart in another window, and it just shows me in its full glory, if that's what you want to do. If I close that out, I come back, I can then select, maybe I want to open the view behind the chart, maybe do some more analysis for this particular view. And then as you can see, it takes you right into the view. These are the columns that I was charting, and then I can drill in on canned fruit to see, you know, who's buying, you know, the different brands for the product category, and then down to the product level to get more detail. So as you can see, as I drill to the product level, I get, like, you know, more rows, more records, obviously. And this would not be a good thing to chart. You know, obviously you don't want to have 85 different representations on that column chart. It would be quite busy. So this is something that I think that once you raise up the chart levels a bit from product, maybe using brand, or in this case, I'm using product category, you know, this allows me to you know, manage the chart area a little bit better. Obviously, this looks a lot better than it would with, you know, my items, all 85 rows of my items there. Overall, you know, what other stories can we glean? We've got growth across the board, it seems. So that's a good thing. So in terms of, you know, what's driving the growth, you can answer these questions by going into the detail, back into the view, you know, behind these charts. You know, what's driving canned fruit growth? You know, if you don't see a level in here that you want to drill to, for instance, what sold tos are driving this? You know, I can then bring that into the view and then drill into canned fruit to the product sold to. And if I change my sort over here to my growth percent change, then I can see that Maple Tree, Chicago's Finest, these are some of the top growing accounts that I have. As you can see, they've got quite a bit of growth here this year versus last when I compare them to prior year. So yeah, I mean, you want that available. You want the availability to, first of all, tell a story to your users, and then, but to also give them the ability to go to that detail and allow them to see what's behind that detail. For instance, this one over here, this is not sales, this is our AR. So this is what our customers owe us. And as you can see, I've got quite a couple of customers here that are, they're, you know, large chunks of the pie. As I hover over these Harringtons, you know, Good Foods, we could see that both Wilder divisions owe us quite a bit of money. Okay, and this shows us how much they owe and what the percent of the piece of the pie is, but it doesn't give us you know, much aging information, like when is this might be coming in, is it past due? And again, you'll have that ability to go in and go to the view behind this particular chart, and it's going to tell me a completely different story. If I just run this in place, we can see that this particular view has all the different AR in it, so we can see that Wilder Foods indeed do owe us quite a bit of money, but we can also see how that money is split out and aged so that we can see it when we could actually expect that money coming in. So 0 to 30, 31 to 60, we can see how these 7 million number figures are going to, you know, trickle in through the next couple of months. Right, and these are past due, actually. So, you know, anything going out, there's nothing there. So obviously these are all past due accounts. And so obviously we've got our work to do to make these collections. So Stratum, as you can see, not only does it store sales information, but certainly it stores, in this instance, your account receivables. So we tap into your financials, and then we load that into Stratum so you can have that available too. And that's just a standard part of our data model. This is just comes with it. It's just waiting for you to feed it. All right, so telling some more stories down here. So basically, this is the same chart as you see up here, roughly, except it's more of a instead of a column chart, it's a bar chart. So as you can see, you can have different ways of representing the data. If I were to come in and maybe customize some of these, for instance, let's go into the dashboard designer and see how we built some of this stuff. So if I go into my design, up to my hamburger menus, you can see in my upper right-hand area corner, I can then go into my manage things, where I can then see my dashboard menu. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and that takes me into my dashboard designer. So we can see our dashboard design. This is the dashboard that we're currently using. So as I click on it, it renders within my designer page. If I want to make any changes to this, I would then click on edit. It then makes the connection to my views and allows me to select different views that I want to add back into and maybe to the bottom of my dashboard. For instance, if I want to add a little pie chart to the bottom here, I can then go into one of my views, select a view, and then drag and drop this down into the bottom of my dashboard. It then renders the default pie chart that I selected up here in my menu. And then again, I can go into my different customizable options to make any necessary customizations to the widget or to the actual data chart itself, the actual chart type. So the widget settings, if I go into that, we can see that I can rename the title of the widget. I can link this particular chart to the different website, or maybe link it to a different view. But that's not what you necessarily need to do. It's automatically linked to the view, just so you know. So that would be particularly just linking it to something else. The chart type itself, as you can see, if I go into my chart options, edit this item. So this is your widget settings. And then if I go into my chart options, edit this item, I can then go into that. If I click in on that, I can see that I can edit different things within the chart itself. The actual chart type, if I click on that, I can then change the chart on the fly. So if I wanted to change this to a bar chart on the fly, it would look like that. And then obviously I would have some work to do to select which measures that I actually want to chart it out. So the view itself, as you can see, has a lot of columns in it that we don't want to chart. And so I would actually have to go in and clean some of that up for this to look good. If I'd actually do that, I can then click on edit the data, and I can then select which items that I want to chart. Obviously, I can then deselect the different items that I don't want to chart. And yes, I've told this recommended a select all and deselect all, which is I think what we need here. Because obviously, I have to go into all those to deselect them. And you might leave one behind, like that one there. So as I'm cleaning that up, as you can see, it cleans up quite nicely. It's not rocket science, right? So I'm changing this on the fly, as you can see. And then if I wanted to change the actual, so we've done a couple things. We went in, changed the actual chart type, and I could play with this right here. And it'll show me what it looks like in the preview menu. It's quite nice, actually. Here's a little bubble chart of showing me all the sales based on the bubble chart. And of course, canned fruit, we know that canned fruit dominates the sector, right? Everything else falls behind down here in the lower left-hand quadrant. So that's cool. I can look at it this way. I can look at it that way. I can go in and select different charts. If I go into my chart options, then I can come in and change this to a column. Maybe if I want to see something like that, or maybe stacked. It's fun. I mean, I can't lie. It's easy to do, and you can do mappings. So if you want to create some maps based on data that has mapping data, if you don't have mapping data in it, obviously it tells you, you got to have geo data in there. So if I had state, maybe address or zip codes, I can go ahead and introduce some maps as well. The line charts, if I wanted to line this out, I can do that. It'll line chart out by category. And I can do something to smooth it out a little bit as well. Canned fruit, again, dominating the line chart as we suspected. Or I could just cancel all the way out and just leave it as a, well, I guess I did change it to the bar chart. So as I stop editing this actually becomes available within my dashboard, right? So if I go ahead and stop edit to that, and then if I come back into my dashboard, if I go ahead and refresh my dashboard or my instance of Stratum, if you will, the dashboard then renders. And there it is. There's my new widget. So all the users would actually, next time they log into Stratum, or if they do a refresh, they will see the new dashboard widget populate, and they'd be able to take advantage of that as well pretty quickly. I see there's a chat question. Will 7.4 version automatically upgrade on our workstations? Is that what I imagine that's what you're asking. It won't automatically upgrade. No, this is something that you would need to, because we have to do a server upgrade. It depends. You might be a hosted customer. It depends on if we're hosting your environment or if it's on premise. If it's on premise, then your IT department would need to do it or contact us for help to do it. If you're hosted, then we keep you automatically upgraded to the latest release. Yes. So I guess it really kind of depends on whether you're running the cloud version of our product or if it's running there on premise at your site. Hopefully that answers your question. If not, feel free to unmute yourself or continue chat. Okay.
Sorry, that was me. Yeah, because right now we have, I think the application is 7.2. And when you were talking about the hamburger to get to all of these charts, like I don't see that in our Stratum.
Yeah, so you'll need to go to 7.4 to take advantage of this.
Okay.
And what customer are you with? What's your?
I'm with School Specialty.
Oh, with SWI SH Swish?
No, School.
Oh, School. Got it.
Yeah, School Specialty.
Yeah. You guys are not running on the cloud, so you would need to contact someone there at IT, and they can contact me, and I can work on this, and we can get you guys upgraded. And then another thing is that I believe you guys may be on a managed services contract, so that would cover the upgrade. So we could actually do that for you. But I'll have to look at that for you.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm sorry, your name again?
My name is Lisa.
Lisa. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
If that's something that you're interested, I'd be glad to work with you on getting this, or at least trying to move this forward for you. I know that I've been trying to get a good contact over at School Specialty for a while, and if this is something that you're interested in, certainly I'd be glad to help you push it through.
Okay, so we would reach out to Brett's with School Specialty too. So would I reach out to my IT and just let them know we have an application that needs to be upgraded, and they'll reach out to you?
Yes, exactly. And I know that you guys are on maintenance, so this is something that you're entitled to. So
okay,
sure, definitely follow up with me on that. Either you or someone from your IT group. I would be ecstatic to help you guys upgrade. Absolutely.
okay.
I'm customer success director, so this is something I always try to do with all my customers is just to make sure that they're taking advantage of, first of all, what they're licensed for. Many times customers happens and they just don't know what they're entitled to. And then secondly, what's available, what's out there, what are some of the features available to you, what version are you running, what are you missing out on, that type of thing. These are things that I can help you with. So just so you know.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
It's cold where you are. It's 59 degrees. I'm like, oh.
Oh, I know. It's finally turning the weather. I live outside of Chicagoland, and yeah, it's been a long and cold spring. So like the 10 days finally got a bunch of 70-degree weather out there. So we're pretty stoked about that. So
Nice.
And you guys are up in Wisconsin, aren't you? Same type of thing?
Not all of us. We're nationwide. The company's nationwide and in Canada, but Brett and I are located in Texas.
Ah, good for you. Yeah, so you don't get as Houston. I was in Houston one time for a project in mid-July, and if it wasn't for that fantastic barbecue, I don't know if I would have made it through. So it was so hot. But Chicago, hey, it gets like that in July. Good Lord, we got this big lake next to us, so the humidity gets crazy. So
nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I know we're coming up on our half hour here, but I just wanted to let you know that you could build multiple dashboards, and you can actually assign them to different groups of users as well. So the product allows you to go in and check it out. If you're not an administrator, you can have them do this for you. But you can assign to them, like for instance, we have you can group users into groups, of course. And as I go into one of the groups, I can see the users that are within that group. And check it out, I can override the home page of the actual application, and I can then put in a dashboard. For instance, if I were to look at open this dashboard in its own tab, it gives me the actual URL that I would use for that. So I can copy that, and then I can then put that into the dashboard override, so that all these users, when they log in tomorrow morning, instead of getting the regular homepage that they normally would get, they would then render up the dashboard that I just selected to put in for their homepage. So this is how you can distribute the dashboards to either users, because you can do this at the user level, and you could also do that, as you can see, at the user group level. And then another thing you can do is you can create maybe you have more than one dashboard that you want to make available to users. Well, you can also link them to the dashboards. So we have this concept called a user link, and it's basically a way to create a link to a URL. And so I can just come in and I can create a new link, name it sales dashboard or whatever you think would be appropriate to name the link, and then I would put that URL here. And then I would decide what view group, who has access to the different view groups within my environment. And then I would select a view group that I would save that to. So if I save that away, and I can select whether I want to open in a new window or in the frame itself, you would decide how you would want the dashboard to. Maybe I wanted it to look, as I run it, just to look like another view. So I would just deselect that and then save that away. So if I go to my favorites, I'm just going to refresh it just in case. Then I can go to my dashboard, and we can see, we can kind of go in and see where my link is and run that for my the different. So now that's the link that I just created. And as you can see, it runs kind of like a view, right? So if I were to run a view, it renders similarly, right? Like if I were to run like comparative sales, which is just a regular view, obviously I can do my drill downs and whatnot. And then I can come back and see a dashboard that I can run here as well. And then obviously, it runs within instead of creating a new window or a new browser instance, it renders right here in the main page area, which is what we wanted. So again, different ways to distribute these dashboards. You can do it, but you can make it the entire homepage. You can make it a homepage for groups of users, so that each group of users would have maybe a different dashboard. And that would make sense, because you might have finance users. Their dashboard might look vastly different than a sales dashboard, because they're probably more interested in net profits and profitability numbers than sales guys are more interested in their quotas and making, how are they performing this year versus last? What are their big accounts? Where are they missing sales opportunities? So those two dashboards are going to look different, and they're going to have different content in them, typically. So you'd want to push those out to different groups of users. That would be a way to do that. And then anything on top of that, then you could just push out via these links, and they would have that, more graphical capabilities of looking at the data. So, I mean, the world is your oyster in terms of getting the data, these graphs out to your users. And then obviously then they can then do the analysis within the dashboard and then drill to the views behind them to glean more data from them.